Video 4, Algebra and Functions. In this video we're going to look at like terms, rules of indices, expanding brackets and factorising. So part 1, collecting like terms. We can simplify expressions by collecting like terms. And like terms are basically those terms that are the same. So for example, 5x and 3x are like terms because they are both contain x's. B squared and minus 2b squared are like terms because they both contain b's. 7ab and 8ab. Well, what's common there? The ab. They are all what we call like terms. So here we have a long expression, 3x plus 2xy plus 7 minus x plus 3xy minus 9. If we look at the like terms, you see we have x's, we have a 3x and a minus x, and if we combine those together we get 2x. We have an xy like term, 2xy and 3xy, and if we combine those together, be careful with the signs throughout this. 2xy plus 3xy is 5xy, and then we have some numbers, plus 7 minus 9, so minus 2. That is the expression simplified by collecting like terms. 3x squared minus 6x plus 4 minus 2x squared plus 3x minus 3. So again, we look for the like terms. 3x squared minus 2x squared. Be careful with the minus signs. Always make sure you've got the right sign. 3x squared, take away 2x squared, x squared. Next up we have the x's minus 6x plus 3x, which makes minus 3x, and again some numbers. 4 minus 3, 1. 3a plus b squared minus 2, 3a minus 4b squared. The first step is to expand each bracket, so we get 3a plus 3b squared, and for the second bracket, minus 6a plus 8b squared, being yet again careful with the minus signs. Once we've expanded the brackets, we can then collect up the like terms. 3a minus 6a is minus 3a, 3b squared plus 8b squared, 11b squared. Part 2. Rules of indices. You need to be able to simplify expressions involving indices. You will have seen these rules at GCSE, so they should be already something that you're quite familiar with. We have the first rule, a to the m times a to the n, which is a to the m plus n. For example, 3 to the power 4 times 3 squared is 3 to the power 6, 4 plus 2. You just need to make sure that the big numbers, or as we call it the base, the big numbers have to be the same for these rules to work. A to the m divided by a to the n is a to the m minus n. When you divide, you take away the indices. So 5 to the power 7 divided by 5 cubed is 5 to the power 4. 7 take away 3. A m to the n is a mn. So 6 squared to the power 4 is 6 to the power 8. 2 times 4. That's relatively easy to show if you want to do by doing a to the m times a to the m times a to the m n times, and then thinking about what that means in terms of the sum. A to the minus m is 1 over a to the m. A minus sign in an index means the reciprocal, so a to the minus m is 1 over a to the m. 5 to the minus 2 is 1 over 5 squared. As easy as that. You must remember all of these rules. You must, but especially that one there, it crops up time and time again, and it seems to fool people. When you see the minus sign in this, it means 1 over. A to the some fraction is basically the root of that fraction. So a to the 1 over m is the mth root of a. So 7 to the third is the cube root of 7. And this combines a couple of rules together. A to the n over m is the mth root of a to the power n. It combines essentially the third rule and the fifth rule together to get this rule. So 10 to the 2 over 5 is the fifth root of 10 squared. We will need to use these rules not just with numbers, but later on in A-level maths with algebra, when we're trying to tie the expressions up to be able to do things to them. So we have to be very, very familiar with these rules and quite able to use them easily. So here's some examples. X squared times x to the power 5. It's the first rule, x to the power 7. 2r squared times 3r cubed. Let's treat the numbers first. 2 times 3 is 6, and then it's the first rule again. When you times, you add the indices, so 6r to the power 5. B to the power 4 divided by b to the power 4. But there's two ways you can think about this one. You can use the second rule, which says that 4 take away 4 is 0, so it's b to the power 0. You can also use the fact that when you divide something by itself, the answer is 1. So it's either b to the power 0 or indeed 1. Because anything to the power 0 is 1, because it is essentially something divided by itself. 6x to the minus 3 divided by 3x to the minus 5. Using the second rule, do the big numbers first. 6 divided by 3 is 2. X to the minus 3 divided by x to the minus 5, you're taking away minus 3 minus minus 5. Again, be careful with minus signs. That gives us 2x squared minus 3 plus 5, 2x squared. A cubed squared times 2a squared. But if we do this in stages, we've got a cubed squared, which is a to the power 6 times 2a squared, and then that's using the third rule, and then we can use the first rule to say 6 plus 2 is 8, so it's 2a to the power 8. In an exam, it's well worth splitting and writing things down precisely the steps, and not trying to jump from the first line to the last line, but having the working out in between. 3x squared cubed divided by x to the power 4. A common mistake is made in this type of question. What we have here is 3x squared cubed. So we have to cube everything inside that bracket. So it's 3 cubed and x squared cubed. 3 cubed is 27. X squared cubed, using the third rule, is x to the power 6 divided by x to the power 4. Then we can use the second rule to get 27x squared. A common mistake is people forget to cube the 3 inside the bracket as well. Don't make that mistake. Part 3. Expanding brackets. You can expand an expression by multiplying the terms inside the bracket by the term outside. You'd have seen this lots in GCSE. 5, 2x plus 3, the dramatic pause represents the bracket. So that's 5 times 2x, which is 10x, and 5 times 3, 15. Minus 3x 7x minus 4. So we've got minus 3x times 7x minus 21x squared minus 3x times minus 4, being careful with minus signs, gives us the plus 12x. So it's minus 21x squared plus 12x. Y squared, 3 minus 2y cubed. Using the rules of indices, we have 3 times y squared is just 3y squared. Y squared times y cubed means we add the indices, so it's a minus 2y to the power 5. Bigger bracket this time, 4x, 3x minus 2x squared plus 5x cubed. Just times every term inside by the term outside. 4x times 3x is 12x squared, 4x times minus 2x squared is minus 8x cubed, and 4x times 5x cubed is 20x to the power 4. Here we have two brackets, 2x, 5x plus 3, minus 5, 2x plus 3. So make sure when you see ones that look like this that you treat them as two separate things. You remember the order of operations? You may have heard it as bidimus, brackets, indices, addition, subtraction. That means that the minus sign in the middle means it's 2x, 5x plus 3, and that side with the multiplication and the brackets you do before the other side, because that minus sign essentially splits them up. So think of them as two separate halves, or how many bits there may be. So if we do the left hand side first, we have 10x squared plus 6x, and if we then do the right hand side, minus 10x minus 15, and then collect together any like terms to get 10x squared minus 4x minus 15. Part 4, factorising expressions. Factorising is the opposite of expanding brackets. An expression is put in the brackets by looking for common factors. So here we get 3x and 9. What's the highest common factor of 3x and 9? Well, it's 3. So once you know that 3 is the highest common factor, then you say, what do you times 3 by to get 3x? What do you times it by? X. And what do you times it by to get 9? You times it by 3. So it's 3 outside the bracket, x plus 3 inside. This is exactly the opposite of part 3 of this video. X squared minus 5x. The highest common factor this time is x. What do you times x by to get x squared? Well, you times it by x, and to get minus 5x, minus 5. 8x squared plus 20x. The highest common factor this time, yes, it's 4x. So what do you times 4x by to get 8x squared? Times it by 2x and to get 20x, 5. So 4x, 2x plus 5. Make sure you find all of the common factors. Between 9 and 15, the factor is 3. Between x squared and x, it is x. And between y and y squared, it is y. So the highest common factor is 3xy. And then what do you times it by to get the 9x squared y? 3x. And the 15xy squared, 5y. 3x squared minus 9xy. Look at the numbers. 3. Look at the x's. There's an x that goes into both. Look at the y's. There's no factor there. So 3x is the highest common factor. 3x, x minus 3y.